So Buenos Aires is, for me personally, the top digital nomad destination. I know I've been to a lot of places in the world, I've been to almost 40 countries, but for a digital nomad in the US, the time zone is perfect. You're like an hour to 2 hours ahead of East Coast. I remember the first time I went there last year, I landed and I just came from Colombia, and I was like, where am I right now? The first part of this video is I went home from Hawaii to New York. Basically, this year, me and my parents had started an RV rental company. My parents had rented out an RV last year when I was in Thailand, actually, and you might see in some of my previous videos me working on acquiring an RV. And then so I did. Because there was no space in the house, I just decided I was just gonna stay in the RV, even though it was below freezing, it was snowing. It was a really cool experience to, stay in the RV while it was snowing and have it be warm enough for me to stay in it. Just brushing our teeth in the snow. 23 degrees Fahrenheit. In a cold one. If you want to check it out, we actually have done quite a few trips this year. We have 6 units now, and you can check it out at drivehomерv.com. But we're gonna be in New York for a little bit, go to Buenos Aires, and I'm gonna talk more about that then. But I hope you enjoy the first of the Argentina series. Actually, able to get a little bit of snow while I'm home. Gonna go bring lunch to my grandparents today. So just gonna drive like an hour and 15 minutes west to Pennsylvania. It's better, honestly, when it snows, just because at least it's cold and you feel like for a reason. But when it's cold and it's not snowing, and particularly if it's like raining and cold, then it's just annoying.
My silver-haired beauty, here you go. I'll make room for you.
What are you doing? You still barking at me? Was this your high school portrait?
Yes, back in the 1820s.
I see a resemblance, and
Midnight, 10 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 12 degrees Celsius right now. Do have some snacks from Hannaford. Gonna hang out in the RV, watch a movie. So it is now morning 3, I believe, and I've got the space heater now that's connected to the AC outlet, and then I've got the the E350 running with heat full blast, and then I've got this heater on. But I mean, one of the really nice things about the Class C, having a Class C, or this Class C, I guess, it's basically, generating electricity for the vehicle. And so you have like the actual generator, then you have that, and it also is heating. So it takes like probably a good 20-30 minutes of everything full blast to like get this place heated up to like the 70s. But right now I'm actually looking at a new YouTube video that I'm about to post and just doing some last minute edits to it. Definitely nice. I've been sleeping pretty well in here now. Probably going to replace the bed, but it hasn't been that big of an issue. And yeah, I mean, this is winter camping in your front yard, essentially, in an RV. Now it's time for Buenos Aires. So we actually stayed again in Palermo. We got a place on Airbnb. It was $1,200 a month, but it had a sauna and a gym, and I'm going to showcase that in a second. That Friday we went to dinner with our friends. There was a birthday party, and then we at Imperial. That's one of the things you see about Buenos Aires, is that there's tall buildings, but they're not all like stacked together like maybe you'd see in Manhattan, where like as you get closer to downtown the buildings just get taller and taller. In Buenos Aires, like one of the things you notice is that there's like groups of tall buildings, and then in between there's like a horse racing stadium, there's polo grounds, there's all this different stuff. So very exciting to be back, and we had an amazing time. And then our friend Tim, who we met in Bali, he also came. Laura, who we met the previous year in Panama, also came. So, and then we also met up with Anna and Antonio, and we had a very, very good time. So at the movie theaters, Cinemark. Oh, there I am. Look at me. At the Cinemark theaters, we just went and got 3 tickets for like $2,500, which is maybe $8, $7 for the 3 of us to go see The Whale at 7 p.m. As you can see, there's a little person. Which neighborhood are we in right now?
This is Palermo and this is Barrio Norte.
So we're in between Palermo and Barrio Norte.
Yeah. We are heading towards Jardín Japonés. This is the Japanese garden.
Going to the Japanese gardens. Oh. So currently outside of El Club de la Milanesa, and they've got like 10 different types of milanesas, and milanesa is a very typical Argentinian food. You see they pound actually the chicken up very thinly, and then they bread it, and it looks like they baked it. And this one's the Tex-Mex, which it has some crema and guacamole, and then also some pico de gallo and some French fries. So,
How is it?
good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The glass of wine and then the milanesa, I think probably was all $3,000 altogether, which is basically like $8.
For all these. Amazing.
What did you think of the movie, Lara?
Incredible.
Yeah?
It was incredible.
Yeah?
Like, incredible. Like it was like very emotional, and his performance is incredible. And also the Asian woman, also incredible.
Yeah, she was good.
She's good at everything.
I didn't cry. Good morning from beautiful Buenos Aires. It is sunny and amazing today, but what we're going to be doing today is actually booking a first class flight from, I think, Tampa, Florida to Gstaad, Switzerland. But first, I need some coffee. In the San Telmo market. In San Telmo, in the San Telmo market, there's a bunch of stuff. So if you're walking on the streets, there's a bunch of people walking around. But then if you go inside the actual market, I guess there's a bunch of like small little restaurants, places that you can buy. There's like thrift shops, all that stuff. So we went, sat down, had some food and some wine. It was me, Laura, and me. I had posted it last year when we went there. So we went back, had some tapas again in the San Telmo market.
Beetroot. Beetroot with boquerones. Those are little fishes like sardinas, but not too salty. Here we have chorizo with salsa chimichurri. This one is grilled cheese with persil, parsley. Here we have pate. And the last one is a milanesa of morcilla. That is a kind of sausage, traditionally here, with a base of mayonnaise.
Amazing.
In a minute, I think I'm
And
trying
then
to...
what we did after when we came back from San Telmo was we went to Tres Monos, which is actually rated as one of the world's top 50 bars. One of the things about Buenos Aires is like there's so many cool bars, and especially being in Palermo, like we walk out our building, Tres Monos was like 2 blocks from us. We were walking distance from like a bunch of world-class bars and restaurants, which we'll get into later. We went to like the top 3 rated restaurants in Buenos Aires. One of the places actually Messi had eaten at a week before, but you'll have to see in later videos. Just the entire like culinary dining bar experience in Buenos Aires is world-class, and the fact that it's literally less expensive than like all of the other places that I've traveled. You're never spending like too much. I think the most we spent on dinner like at like a Michelin star restaurant was like $100 for 2 people. That was the most. Most of the time it would be like $10 to $20, maybe $5 a person, depending on what we ate. So we got a kilogram of bife de chorizo. So you're really supposed to put this on like a grill, but that's upstairs and I haven't figured out how to utilize it yet. So I'm just gonna throw this in the pan, but I think it cost 2,300 Argentinian pesos, which is, Laura, how much is that?
That is 45 euros. 50 euros.
That is $6. So
Wait.
we have
You said 22,000.
2,300.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I mean, you could spend, this is $6 for these 5 steaks. So from a carniceria. And I also went by the Don Julio's Steakhouse. They have a carniceria here too. So I'm actually, what I'm gonna do is, if you guys want, I'll do a taste test. I'll buy meat from one, and then just a normal carniceria, and I'll also buy meat from Don Julio's and see if it is actually much better.
We all want that.
Because I could buy it, we could go buy it. The meat that you get from the store or when you sit down to eat there is definitely gonna be better than the meat that I cook. But if I cook both of them, then I'll actually have a good, good understanding. The next step of any time I go to a new place is I joined a local gym. That was about $40 or maybe $30 a month. It was, had everything you needed. The only thing it didn't have that I typically like is a sauna, but we actually already had that in our building. And then you see we're up on the rooftop. The rooftop of our building, there was a rooftop pool. There's also a rooftop hot tub. So we would go up there, sometimes to take a little break and go tan in the middle of the day. But then unfortunately, my grandmother passed away. So I had to fly home for that funeral. So, we're going back to New York. Just came from grandma's funeral. Still doesn't feel real, I guess. It's I just figured to start filming myself just to document my thoughts, but I mean, of course there's a lot of emotions, but I feel like it just doesn't feel real, like the last time I was home, 2 weeks ago, I brought her to lunch, we, sat around all day and, just woke up here to a new fifth wheel being backed up. You were in cahoots with this plan?
Maybe.
Driving the RV for the first time. I'm just gonna pull it up just a few feet to get some better Wi-Fi connection. But that's it. What do you think? How'd I do?
Huh?
How'd I do?
So great.
What is this? What is going on? Battery charger.
Yeah.
We're using the AC, shore power. And how is that supposed to help?
It's supposed to help because the batteries got drained. So if you charge them up, the system may change its mind.
How much would that cost?
About $600.
That would suck. Maybe an unnecessary slam, but it's okay. Oh my god, so cute. So cute. So what'd you just do?
I just replaced a bad DC power converter with a good DC power converter. And now the battery is charging, the DC system is operating appropriately. And with the updated one, we could switch out for lithium batteries if we want to. Spend the night with you here, the heat on,
Wow.
instead of starting the engine every 5 minutes. Survival.
It's exciting. I feel blessed. You deserve yourself some Rambler sparkling water. Texas limestone filter.
There's some fancy bubble water. That's what I'm gonna have.
One thing I forgot to say, that I forgot to do also, gotta make sure when you're driving, sometimes these doors don't latch properly and they're a little bit different. So just make sure to lock this, because it's not as secure as those doors typically. So one of the things here is, so like this one, as you can see, like I can just barely see the right side, but over here, I can't see the side of the RV at all. To fix that so I can see the RV properly, essentially.
need help adjusting that.
There you go.
This is where they got
That's where they got married.
Oh.
And then they pulled people, so that was the reception now.
Uh-huh.
What do you
Quite
have
a
to
few
say?
people there, huh?
So, if you saw my last video, you know that I also lost my sister this year. But in the course of me going to Argentina from Hawaii, my uncle, who had been battling cancer, his health really started to deteriorate. So I changed my trip to go home to see him before he passed, and I actually missed the funeral because the flights were just super expensive, so I had to fly back to Argentina about 1 week after my grandma also passed away. And I was having a really tough time being in Argentina, being by myself and not being around my family. So I flew back. When I was home, I brought lunch over for my grandparents and hung out with my grandma and talked to her for the last time. And life's hard, like you're going to lose people. And, as lucky as I am to have such a big family, like I'm going to lose more people than most. And I like to think back to Marcus Aurelius, who I'm very big into Stoic philosophy, and he actually lost like most of his children. And he was still always, like, based on reading Meditations, he was just always trying to show up and be the best version of himself, and take what life gave him and just try to turn that into something good. And so the last part of this video, I filmed a podcast, a few interviews with my grandparents a few years back, and this was actually 2020. So I'm going to go over that, but that's mostly just my grandparents and me and my mom. And so I just wanted to read something I wrote for my uncle when he passed away, my Uncle Billy. And he had passed from colon cancer. So my Uncle Billy was charming, funny, honest, loyal, and remarkably courageous in his fight against colon cancer. I can still hear his laugh in my head clearer than I remember my own laugh, which is a common thing in the O'Connor family, and they all know it. A loving father and a husband and a son, a fiercely loyal brother, and a man who went toe-to-toe with some of the worst news imaginable. Stage 4 colon cancer, and he gave it hell over the 2 years it had to deal with him. Of course, losing someone you love is hard, and selfishly, we want everyone around us to live forever. But knowing that we all have the same exit, we can only hope to live our lives to the best of our ability and have the courage and grace my uncle has shown me. One quote that I heard when I was 17 struck me and planted the seed that forever altered the course of my life. And I think that this quote is pertinent here. No one is finally dead until the ripples they cause in the world die away, until the clock wound up winds down, until the wine she made has finished its ferment, until the crop they planted is harvested. The span of someone's life is only the core of their actual existence. Terry Pratchett, Reaper Man. I hope that in my part, the lessons taught just by the way you lived were loved, I can carry on with me and pass on. To be fiercely loyal, honest, and have the courage of a lion when life's challenges come my way. I think my sister explained it better. But more than that, he lived an incredibly full life. This is for my sister who had passed. This is actually my first time reading this. I have not gone back to this post. But more than that, He lived an incredibly full life. He lived that life with so much joy and vigor. He was surrounded by the biggest, loudest, and most loving family. He was loved by the strongest and most caring wife who he lived a most beautiful life with. He raised and cherished the coolest sons, and he was so proud of seeing the people they've become. He jammed out to music, smoked cigars, traveled the world, loved to play golf and play frisbee, wore some questionably short and multicolored shorts, and so much more. Love you, man, and I hope you and Uncle Jimmy and Grandma and Maggie are having a cigar and a laugh right now. So, please, keep me and my family, in your prayers if you do pray. Because it's been a hell of a year. There's just a few quotes that I really like that I've been thinking about. So one is, "What we do in life echoes in eternity" by Maximus. This is from the Gladiator movie. The next one is, "Just as one candle lights another and can light thousands of other candles, so one heart illuminates another heart and can illuminate thousands of other hearts." Leo Tolstoy. "Courage is grace under pressure." Ernest Hemingway. "You must vie with time's swiftness in the speed of using it, and as from a torrent that rushes by and will not always flow, you must drink quickly." Seneca. "I cannot escape death, but at least I can escape the fear of it." Marcus Aurelius. So I know, I'm not even sure who's watching at this point, but if you are watching, I don't want you to feel bad for me. If anything, the thing to take from this is that if you are struggling with mental health, if not for yourself, but for me, take better care of yourself. Do the things that are necessary. Maybe you don't want to do them. If you don't, speak to a therapist, do the right things for yourself. If you have a family history of certain types of cancers, go get yourself checked out. I myself had a benign polyp removed from my colon when I was 17 or 18 years old, and it was about the size of a quarter, and the doctor said that if I had not caught it, that it would have turned cancerous. So every other year I go back and I do another colonoscopy. But the message here, there's so many things to take from this, but I think ultimately what I'll take from this is that, life is short. We don't know how much time we have. We don't know how it's going to end. We don't know when it's going to end. The only thing that is within our control is to show up and try to be the best version of ourselves every day. So having said that, I hope you enjoyed the parts of this video that were not so heavy. And now we'll get into the interview of me talking with my grandparents, with my mom.
I was saying to Alex before is when Steve and I first got married, and Steve was going to school, and we had the kids in the cribs, and Steve and I were on the pull-out couch, and I know Patty was saying when she and Jules got together, they had like homemade furniture, and sort of the idea like you don't have to have it all put together.
That's right.
And you reassured me that it's okay. You don't have to have it all put together.
Well, Daddy has always had like we always did. We didn't spend what we didn't have.
Right.
If we couldn't afford it, we did without it.
Yeah.
But now the kids will buy on credit or whatever.
Yeah.
Things that they want, and that's it, But it's not right. It should be, if you can afford it, then get it. But if you can't, just do without it. They don't want to. They want what's new,
What do you think that people should be thinking when they are kind of getting to that stage of life? Should they have it all figured out and be thinking that they should have it all figured out?
No, you just have to take life as it comes along and deal with it. But don't go over your means that you can't afford. That's
Yeah.
it, you know. We never had a lot of things for a while. We didn't have a television. We had to go downstairs to my landlord to watch television.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't buy a television until we could afford it. If we could afford it, then we would get it. But if we couldn't afford it, that was it. We did without it. Daddy was very lucky. He had a good job, but had good, he was making good money. And it was a secure job. It wasn't that he was going to lose it or anything. And he could always afford to take us away in the summer. And if we needed something, we could get it, And now we think it's great. Whatever we want, we have enough money to do what we want. And that was all because he had a good position.
Yeah.
And that's important. To get a job that's, is going to last and be secure, You get his opinion. Give out your opinion.
What?
I'm just asking about like growing up, what you should be, because especially now more than ever, people kind of look at each other and are kind of jonesing about what they should, getting new cars before they can really afford it, or trying to have it all figured out when they're 18 years old.
And new couples trying to get established and feeling like they have to have it all put together. But I mean, you reassured me like it's okay to be sort of struggling and figuring, like you just said, taking life as it comes and figuring it out as life continues to unfold.
Right. If we couldn't afford it, we didn't
I
get
was just
it.
gonna say we never extended. If we didn't have the money to back us up, we wouldn't buy it.
Yeah. And how do you feel like that kind of helped you, like that kind of mindset? How do you?
Well, I never got in debt
Yeah.
over my head.
Yeah.
No.
I've always met my bills
Mm-hmm.
because I put the screws on.
We were always able to pay them. We were always able to pay them when they were due.
But I mean, it doesn't seem like you felt bad about it. Like you didn't compare and you didn't feel like,
Sometimes Daddy worked and got paid once a month. By the end of the month, money was gas. But we managed. We didn't go out and we didn't go to a restaurant to eat or anything with the kids. We used to take you down. We used to take you down to Freeport.
It was a big treat when we went out to a restaurant.
Yeah, we ate out on the picnic benches. Yeah, Freeport.
Yeah. Got like shrimp in a basket.
Yeah. If we could afford that, we'd do it, And we were able to, only because he had a good, secure job.
How do you figure that you guys didn't kind of let into the pressure? Because even back then, I'm sure there was pressure to like kind of like the keeping up with the Joneses type of thing. Is like you see other people doing stuff. Like how is it that you guys were able to kind of maintain your course?
Well, I had some friends that like my friends were plumbers and they made pretty good money.
Yeah.
I never tried to keep up with them.
Yeah.
And then my friend Walter Miller became a big producer in television.
Really?
Who was it said to you if you didn't have so many children, you could have bought a lot of things?
Oh, I don't know.
Somebody said that to Daddy. If you didn't have so many children, you could have afforded.
Probably Jack O'Connell.
Somebody did, I remember. It didn't bother us. We took care of our kids. We got a lot of hand-me-downs. We got a lot of hand-me-downs from the relatives, Things that her cousin would outgrow, she would give them to me.
Yeah.
And it was all new. It wasn't old stuff,
Right.
But you got tired of wearing somebody else's clothes.
Well, when you're the youngest of 8, there's not a lot of hand-me-downs.
Hand me down your hand-me-downs. Hand me down your hand-me-downs.
And you worked when I was a kid, too.
Yeah.
So that was different.
Yeah.
You went to work.
I remember when A&S closed in Hempstead, Jeannie said to Patty, "Where's Grandma going to buy my clothes?" Because I always bought her things in A&S,
Right.
Before I had so many grandchildren.
And you guys didn't really argue about money or anything, because
Oh, no.
that's a big problem with
No.
young couples.
I never bought anything unless Daddy approved it. I didn't.
Right. But it wasn't like he was, I mean, you seem to be on the same page, though.
Right.
I wasn't always approved of what she did with some of the things. But I never said too much. Do we really need that? Or do the kids need to read that? But that's all right. It's all past us now.
I'm sure if he didn't approve, he'd let me know.
It's already spent.
All right.
But we never had, it was funny, someone that said, if we had an argument, we'd go into the bedroom and close the door. We wouldn't argue in front of the children.
Then I got hit.
And that's a good idea. It's not good to fight in front of the kids.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't fight in front of us. And that another thing that
We're not ready for it.
No, I know.
No, just have a disagreement.
So that we saw you as
He was. Alec, he was.
Yeah.
well, I have to say again, I think I grew up in a different time in our house where my mother worked, and so I really saw you as not that I didn't think Daddy was a boss, but I think I saw you as a united front. It wasn't like if Daddy said no, I'd go to you, or the other way around.
No, I never went
that
back.
Would never happen.
I never went back at Daddy like that until I went to work.
Right.
And then I figured, it's my life too. Before that, I used to let him decide whatever.
Did you went to work for me?
Yeah. Yeah.
You broke the chains of matrimony, huh?
Oh, sit.
It worked out well, couldn't
Sit.
She get to work and she
Sit
take
down.
the kids off to school.
Sit down.
She'd be into my school by 9 o'clock,
Sit down.
and she'd leave at 2.
That's it. That's it.
I'd rather have go down for 15 minutes. We have a cup of coffee or something like that. I wouldn't be.
Wait, so you guys worked in the same building?
Yeah.
Yeah, she
I
worked for
didn't know
me.
that.
I could hire my own. I could hire.
I was his
I could hire-
secretary.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it's a different kind of a job. I could hire and fire my own crew.
Uh-huh.
They
I
weren't
had-
civil service workers.
I had a desk and he had a desk in back of me.
Really?
Well, Grandma was in a different union now.
Oh, yeah. Mine was the school workers.
Right.
He was the board of ed.
And she worked for 11 from 9 to 11.
9 to 2:30.
9 to 2:30.
Had to be home before you got home from school.
It was about a half-hour ride, so
Sometimes I'd get a call that Mary wasn't feeling well in school and I had to go. I had to stop.
that was when I was 59.
Yeah.
As I forget about it. It's a different kind of a system. Now it's changed.
So you guys have spent more time together than like most people
Yeah.
will ever spend
That's
with
true.
another person.
Yeah, you figure you work together.
Yeah, you work together. I mean, you.
Well, I mean, that's true.
At least they thought so. It worked out very well, didn't it, Ruth?
Yes.
I remember we had one argument, not really an argument, but when they made out the PO1, didn't have the columns of all expenses in the same, didn't have them right under each other. I want you to do this one. I want you to do this one again. I'm not going to do it again. I said, you want to do it again? Because when you add it up, it's much easier when they're straight on each other, you know?
Right.
But thick McGluck here.
That's Grandma's expression.
Snook
Snook McGluck.
McGluck.
What is it?
Snook McGluck.
Snook. Snook la. Goop.
Gook.
Goop.
Snoop glue. Snoop glue.
Snook McGluck.
McGluck.
Like Mick.
Wow.
Oh.
Tootsie, of course, you didn't know Tootsie, but she was a great girl. That was her mother.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A great
Nice,
grandma.
nice.
What was she like?
Very nice.
Okay.
Everybody liked her. I think everybody liked her.
She was. Grandma's father passed away during the Depression, so she had to raise
Really?
money.
She made $18 a week.
So she was unique. I think she was working at that time.
But I always had
raising us.
clothes. I always had food. I was in high school.
You were in high school when he passed away?
No, I was graduating. He passed away in April. I was graduated for elementary school
that's
in
right,
June.
Yeah, I thought you were young.
I was 12.
Yeah, pretty young.
So your father passed away when you were 12?
Yeah, he had ruptured appendix
Ooh.
and an abscess formed. And he went to the emergency room at the hospital. And whoever treated him at the hospital told him to go home and put a hot water bottle on it. He put a hot water bottle on it and it burst. And peritonitis went through his system. And he died. If he had gone to a doctor instead of going to the emergency room, but he didn't want to spend the money to go to because he wasn't working.
What year was it?
1939.
Oh, okay.
If he had gone to our doctor would have been able to treat him.
Right.
Because my cousin had the same thing. And they drew it all together, peritonitis, and they operated on her. And she was all right.
Who was that?
Edith.
Oh, you did? Oh.
Graham's worked in a camera department, which is
Jewelry camera.
interesting. Yeah.
Fire fountain pens.
So she always took a lot of photos and stuff, which I just think is kind of interesting. And Grandma and my mom lived upstairs in Aunt Florence's house in an attic.
No heat.
No heat?
No heat.
So when we got married, Tootsie says, I took her radiator
Yeah,
away.
my mother told him, you stole my radiator.
But then she moved in with them. And I think
Not for long, though.
I thought she lived with you until I was born.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
it might have been a year or so.
Well, no, Grandma was in Maryland when you were born. And Granddad let her, he said it was okay for her to go and stay with us after you were born.
When did Grams and Granddad get married?
64.
Yeah, so that's right around. But so what happened between you getting married and about 1964?
Yeah, when did she come to live with us? I don't remember.
Well, after we got pretty well settled, then she came and
We didn't have the upstairs done yet.
Upstairs back room.
We didn't have the upstairs done yet. She lived in the back room,
Yeah.
and then the girls lived in the front room.
So until like 1964, just put this together, I wasn't born yet, but it was 7 kids, my parents and my mother's mother, in the house on Long Island with 1 bathroom.
I don't know how we did it.
I don't know either.
I really don't know how we did it, but it worked out okay.
But then later on, I had the whole second floor blown off. And we put 4 bedrooms and a bath and a half up there.
Oh, really?
And a big walk-in closet.
Yeah.
4 foot, like 10 foot long. And it worked out very well. They just sold our house recently for $700,000.
Really?
Yeah.
We paid $14,500,
14,500? Wow.
and they sold it for $700,000.
Jeez.
When did you move out of that house in Brixton?
92.
We moved it.
I went up in 88 to take care of my mother and father, and Grandpa used to come up on weekends. And in 1992, we sold the house.
And you moved up to New Paltz?
We went up to New Paltz, and that was our house on next to Aunt Patty.
Right.
Yeah.
What did we sell the house for? But it was a wash because we bought the house next to on Springtown Road without spending any extra money. So we probably sold the house for about $14,500.
I think we got.
Huh?
I think we got 14 something.
Yeah. And then we bought the house next to Patty for about the same thing. So we didn't know.
But I remember when you girls, you had a room with Patty, I think, in the front. They used to laugh at me reading the book to you. Wesley Rabbit.
Wesley Rabbit.
That's funny.
Yeah.
They'll be outside listening to her read the story to Mary. A couple of them would be.
To this day, they kid around about it.
Yeah.
We do mescaline wabbit.
So how was it? How long were you in New Paltz for?
Well, when Grandpa sold the house in '92, we moved into Pennsylvania in '94.
Oh, okay.
So we were only there about 2 years.
Oh, why'd you move? Why'd you go?
Because we were going back and forth to our friends to go out and do things with them, and we thought we might as well move over by them.
Yeah.
They lived in Hemlock Farms.
Right.
So, and my friend Tom found this house for us. He said he called up and he said, "I think I found a house for you. Why don't you come over?" And we went over the same day and looked at it, bought it.
That day?
Yep.
You bought it that day?
That
We
day.
agreed to buy that.
That's my parents. My brother Jimmy, one time, they pulled up in front of a car dealership. Jimmy was in the back of the car. It's when he was not doing well, he was sick.
Yeah.
But they went into a car dealership and I think just stopped in and bought a car. And my brother Jimmy's classic line was, "You buy a new car like you're buying a salami sandwich."
And then he said, "Does it have a tape deck?" I said, "No." He said, "Get on the phone and tell him you want a tape deck." So
Did you get on the phone?
phone?
You said you got on the phone and got a tape deck?
It was a van. We wanted a minivan because of all the kids. You know?
Right. They literally just like went in and bought it and came back out to the car.
Where you guys were just like, oh, let's just go see what they have, and then you went in, you were like, oh, it looks good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, you bought it on time. You had to pay the payments.
Right.
But we were able to do that too because of Daddy's job.
Right.
What a guy.
Yeah. When we were going to get married, he wouldn't get married till we had $1,000 in the bank. We were saving our money together.
Right.
And we had 900 and something. And I said, "That's it. I'm not waiting anymore."
Yeah. Yeah.
And didn't you buy any bedroom set?
Yeah. We spent that money to buy the bedroom set.
And then Daddy had rescued the bedroom set after the fire.
Yeah, if that had been veneer, it would have been gone. It
Right.
was solid. Oh, a solid mahogany.
We
I thought it was mahogany,
were
right?
buying a mahogany set, but it was veneer. And as I'm looking at the thing, I looked down the aisle and I said, this had a nice high-ported top on it. And I go, wait a minute. I went down there and I said, let's take this one. It was a little more money, but it was a nice set. We still have it.
And
Yeah.
we're lucky we did.
Because I could refinish that.
Yeah, because you were able to keep
But it
it.
was veneer, you just
Yeah.
throw away.
So,
I brought the set into my dress into the school, and I sanded it down. I borrowed a sander from Walter Betts.
oh really?
I used that to take all the char off. Yeah. We still have it.
So what year did you buy it?
Just right after we got married. I guess, wasn't it? A short time after
It
anyway.
must have been 44.
But
48, rather.
I took all the handles off. I have these brass handles. And I took one and left it upside down. and purposely. It took 35 years to notice it.
Really?
Yeah.
I never noticed it.
I hear, Jim, is that handle upside down?
That wasn't that long ago, right?
Oh, well, it was a few years ago now, yeah.
Oh, right. But
But it was quite a while after the fire.
Well, it was those funny handles,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and I didn't notice the difference.
Until that day.